suffering be dispelled. Let all pain and suffering be dispelled.
It is my absolute pleasure to be here with you today. Welcome to the Satsang, the last of this rather phenomenal and extraordinary series. And the Magic Satsang series, it's the music. Firstly, I must say, Victoria, the lovely Victoria Parsons, asked me if it was a whole team of shamans coming over a hill singing that. In fact, every single little beep and sound on that music is all me, which is quite remarkable, I suppose, isn't it? However, without the use of incredible technology, I'd have not been able to do a single bit of it. But that is all kind of multi-track voices and plinky keyboards and what have you. And a lot of people have been asking about when that is going to be available. Well, it is actually my intention to complete the Alien Has Landed album by kind of before Christmas with a good tailwind. But as we know, good tailwinds can't be relied on, and nor can it be relied on that you're not going to get a strong headwind or massive crosswinds as you go along. The sentiment of that is not original. I got it from the Buddha, and his thing was that he was not going to leave the earth plane until all human suffering, and by extension any suffering of any sentient being, had been dispelled. And it's a bit of a long shot. I reckon it was his excuse for hanging about, really, because it's so much fun here. The Chinese or Taoist approach to suffering is it's the yin to the yang, where the yang would be pleasure or lack of suffering. And if it was all just lack of suffering and no suffering, there'd be nothing to define the lack of suffering by. It would all just become blur. You know, we have these rises and falls in fortune. We have these rises and falls in the joyfulness of our story. It must go into sorrow as much as it must go into joy. And the art of the Taoist sage, or in our context here, the Taoist magician, is to be able to stand firm in the center within, cleave to the core, which is like the center of the seesaw that's swinging up and down, and thereby straddling that movement feels the sensation of the seesaw going up and down, but isn't at either end of it, and therefore isn't disorientated or disheveled by the up or the down. And you'd think, well, why would it matter if you were disheveled by an up? But, you know, when things are going so well that you start congratulating yourself how brilliant you are, and you start becoming self-important and so on. I mean, it's a place I've been myself, I know it well. You fall over because you're too top-heavy, in the same way that if you hitting the pit, you wallow in self-pity. Again, it becomes too heavy to climb out the pit. So either way, we don't want to get disheveled by the extreme motion of up and down. And the way to achieve that in this Taoist idiom is to cleave to the center of you, which we will be doing in this session. In fact, to conduct magic at all, one must be cleaving to the center. Magic cannot be conducted from the surface of you. We do not influence events from the surface of ourselves, because the surface of ourselves is merely a construct So if you manage to, or I managed to, if any of us managed to develop such an imperishable core, an unwavering core self, that at the point of dropping the body, even in a state of extreme pain and horror, the thought, I would imagine, having kind of meditated on this often and for long times, would be the background self, the background presence within the core self would be looking at the local self, the bit of you that you think is you while you're in this lifetime, and know completely that it constructed it, and it would have great compassion for it. It would just, oh, bless you, you sweetheart. This body, this personality, this collection of memories, the thoughts, the prejudices, the fears, it would just have great compassion for it. And when it fell away, it would just be like that. It would be this constructed thing, this suit with a whole kind of constructive mentality that was constructed, just falling away. And it would just be like the same way as if you threw an old dress away that you really, really loved. There'd be a part of you that go, oh, bless you, dress. The dress would actually have a personality in a way. It would have a character. It's like a car, you know. I remember in the old days. This is really giving my age away. I'm going to be 59 on Friday, by the way. I used to have this old Citroen Jalopy when I was about 20. That looked like President de Gaulle used to drive in. It was a classic car, absolutely amazing old thing, like floating along in a hydraulic armchair. And it had such character to it that I just was in love with it as a person. I used to call it Monsieur Monster, and when it died, I was really sad, you know. I really was like, I cried actually, to be honest, because yeah, it was like a person dying. But I knew it was a construct. I knew it was something that humans had created in a factory. And it's the same with the core self, dealing with the local self. I say the local self, you understand what I mean, the personality, the body, the part of you that is associated with this, the realm of daily life. The core self is where you're suffering. That's where the pain is. The other way around. That constructed self, the local self, is where the pain is. That's where the suffering is. That's the part that dies. That's the bit that clings to life. That's the bit that's scared of dying. The core self, the imperishable self, isn't, because it knows there isn't any death. Nothing happens. I can't prove that. None of us can. But having lost a few very close people in my life, I've experienced indubitably contact from them. And it's happened every single time. And which leads me to believe that there is definitely some kind of tunnel that connects us from one realm to another, and that other realm must be going on. And even if that isn't the case, it doesn't matter, does it really? The main thing is if you stick to your imperishable self, you don't care anyway, because the pain is irrelevant. And that's the reason that we come together to do this, really, is to dispel that pain and that suffering, because it gets in the way of us enjoying ourselves. It's really that simple. The real purpose of being here is to enjoy it. There is no higher purpose than that. Now, that is not necessarily, well, obviously it comprises surface enjoyment, titillation, gratification of the senses, and so on. But when I talk about enjoyment, I mean the deepest enjoyment of being witness to this spectacle, this miracle called life. And that is, even when the external goes through an ugly phase, it's still this deep enjoyment of being here, observing the ugliness and observing the self's reaction to the ugliness. That's the theatre part of it. The theatre is not just the action that occurs in front of you between you and other people and other people and other people. The theatre is actually mostly what you're going through in your internal dialogue and your emotional turbulence in reaction to what you're perceiving going on around you. Now, this core self, you might call it the background presence. I do often, in the sense that I have to say that I keep changing my names for these things, because if I stick on one, it becomes like dogmatic, I find, and it becomes a bit institutionalized, and then I get bored of it and I want to run away from it. When I wrote, what was it, Manifesto, I put in, I called the Tao the Universal Dinner Lady, and I made her to be like this sexy sort of 50-year-old dinner lady at school. It was obviously a childhood fantasy thing of mine, wearing suspender belts and sexy bra and stilt stockings and suspenders, high-heeled shoes, really tarty but lovely. And if you went up to her and asked her for food, more food, rather than in the Oliver Twist story where they said no, of course she'd give you as much as you want. And it was implying that kind of relationship with the Tao. And then everybody started calling the Tao the Universal Dinner Lady, and I wanted to run away from it because it became like an institution. But that aside, the background presence is the bit that's watching you right now as you sit here, from the back of you, literally, from the back of you, that witness bearer, the eternal spirit. And the part of you that is the bit that you're generally more familiar with, who if somebody says, hey, what's your name? And you go, Anne Flanders or whatever it is, that bit doesn't actually exist. It's just the tip of the iceberg. It's a construct. Yeah, of course the body exists. We know that, like a plant exists. But the relationship with the body, your understanding of the body, your experience of who you are within the body is very plastic. It can be changed and shifted quite dramatically. It's not as we think it is most of the time anyway. The background presence, on the other hand, is not only the background presence within you, within each of the 200 people gathered here today from every single time zone on the planet. It's the background presence within all of us, within everything, within the trees, within the birds, within the sky, within the ground, within the whole cosmos. The intelligence or consciousness that informs all manifest phenomena, the Tao. And when we come together in satsang, which is an old Sanskrit word, there are no new Sanskrit words, so it's obviously old, but the old Sanskrit word for communing in truth, sitting together in truth, without the bullshit of the personality, without the protocols, the manners, the pretenses, the artifice, and all the other nonsense that we are obliged to engage in our social interactions, the posturing, the impressing, and all the rest. And this is not peculiar to humans, as you know. Look at monkeys or peacocks or whatever. All animals posture. So a lot of our communication takes place through posturing. Hey, look at me in my car. Hey, look at me in my fancy suit. Hey, look at me wearing this watch or with this hairstyle or this handbag or whatever it is. This is all part of the mechanism that gets people feeling included in the herd. It's all part of the herd bonding mechanism, and it's pretty low-level stuff. I'm not saying it's not good or bad. It's not bad. It's kind of basic. From the level of the background presence, all that stuff's just a load of old nonsense. It's just irrelevant. And we are now going to be entering progressively more over the next short while into the background presence within the core self. And the further back inside we go into the background presence, while maintaining full connection with the world around us, the more we back into the one big presence. Now, it's the one big presence that manifests this entire show. That is the one presence that actually influences the way the show goes. It's not Stephen or Roger or John or Mary who influences the way the show goes. Yeah, maybe bit by bit, you step in front of a bus and the bus has to stop and everybody gets jolted on the bus or whatever. That is cause and effect. But the pattern that got you to do that, that's something else, and that's the level that we're operating on here. When we're talking about magic, we're talking about entering into the fullness of the core self so that you are actually operating from the level of Tao. And then there's a chance that we can influence in a gentle, respectful way the flow of events, the direction to some extent of events, and attenuate the more violent edges and accentuate the jollier, more beautiful edges of it. I mean, I would never suggest in a million years that the power of these satsangs have anything to do whatsoever with the fact that the whole geopolitical ballet this week between Obama and the rest of the world and so on about the invasion, the potential invasion of Syria, intervention in Syria, had anything to do with the work we're doing, but it's definitely connected with it somehow. That we're part of the flow that, at the moment at least, stopped it happening so far. I mean, I don't know what's right or wrong in these things. None of us do, so we don't know the picture, and we never will. But it's always good to not be fighting more than less. So at least, the less bombs going off, the better, in my naive opinion, at least. Take it that far at least. So, it's that kind of feeling. We can't say that it was because of what we did that that's not happened yet, or it might not happen at all. I hope not. Or that the situation can somehow resolve, which it will eventually, hopefully with the least loss of life possible. But it's something to do with it. We're in the flow of that harmony, of the non-violent thing. Our intention adds to the positive flow, and that's what we're wanting to do. Certainly what I'm wanting to do. I mentioned that, allude to a global vision, because we none of us live in isolation. We're all interdependent. And this entire family of humanity is each of our family. There's us 200 in here. We're a family now. So all of our people and all of their people and so on and so on. It's all one big family. And we all know what families are like. They're bloody difficult. But nonetheless, it's our family. And to make magic for yourself, to make things happen for yourself is wonderful and beautiful, and that's what we're doing here. But it can't be done in isolation. It's making magic for everybody that makes magic for you. And what we've done in this series, and I did it this way on purpose, and we'll be doing it this way similarly in the next series, which incidentally, due to strong demand and many requests, we're going to start up again on the 22nd of September at 7 o'clock, 1900, as opposed to 1800, this next series, just because I've got a load of shit stuff that I've got to do at various times, and that's what will work out kind of more or less okay. That's by the by for now. The way we did it was that we started off with the thing that everybody wants. It doesn't matter who you are, unless even if you are a multi-billionaire, it's still the thing that's probably most on your mind. In a superficial sense, making a living, having money, increasing the flow of money into your life. Everybody needs more money, basically. Well, most people need more money. Pretty much everybody wants more for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. I'm not judging it good and bad. It doesn't make any difference. Money is just energy. It's currency. It flows. It's a current. It's a symbol of divine movement, if you like. And we all need it. And the Taoist approach is that you trust your fairy godmother, you trust the Tao, and it will bring you what you need when you need it. It won't bring you what you need to impress people necessarily, unless you really need to impress people. It won't bring you posturing money, in other words. You might need it, who knows, so you might get it. But it will give you what you need. It will bring you what you need, providing you are fully into your purpose of enjoying it here. The same with relationships, because that was the second one, magic up your love life. That's the thing that everybody also wants. Everybody wants company, even if we strip the romance out of it, if we strip the sex out of it, we strip the mystique out of it. We all want good company. We all want good companionship. We all want people to love us and people to love. And the flow of good people in your life is also something that you can ordain or block, and that's what the second session was. It's the same though. The way the Tao works is that if you're with your purpose, and I now need to say by extension, therefore, fulfilling your mission here, your mission being to spread the joy that you're feeling. So your purpose is to feel the joy at all times, every single moment, delight in the miracle of your existence. Thank you for being here, thank you for being here, thank you for being here. And your mission, your job, if you like, your function, your mission really, is to spread that joy. Just let it radiate, let it be contagious. The reason for that is if the Tao manifests as you, it doesn't do it to be miserable, it does it to experience the joy of being here through you. And therefore, the more you feel it, the better the Tao feels. Can't have a better function than that. And the more you let it spread with your generosity of heart, your gorgeousness, your wonderfulness, your joviality, your affability, your willingness to connect with people, the more you ignite it in others, the more the Tao feels joy in more people, and it's the best thing any of us can do. when you're on your mission, the Tao will bring you all the people that you need to support you and love you and nurture you, and for you to do likewise with. The relationship, however, primarily is with the Tao, with your path, with your Dharma. That's the relationship. I would say with yourself, but that's a bit simplistic, because yes, it's the relationship with yourself, the core presence with the surface self. That's a very, well, of course, it's a crucial relationship, mechanically speaking, but it's really the relationship of you and the background presence, you and the Tao. And the third week in this session, in this sequence, we did Magic Up Your Adventure. Well, adventure is the journey that you make, and it's not necessarily a geographical journey, although it obviously comprises moving about a bit, but it's the journey you make through the story of life, meaning that all the people you interact with and the stories that occur, the willingness that you have to risk your comfort, convenience, security, familiarity, and jump into the new will determine how great an adventure you have. The willingness to stretch yourself in your capacity to study new skills and talents and to foster talents and so on, and go through the rigors that will demand of you, will also determine the depth and breadth of the value you get from the adventure as you go along, and the amount you're willing to share of yourself generously with others, and the amount you're willing to receive from others as you go will again determine the quality of the whole experience. And that's taking it, and that's what we want. I mean, I think we all want to have the biggest, most beautiful, most wonderful, deepest, sweetest experience possible. So we work with that one. And the Tao will provide that. This is the idea that by jumping, the Tao catches you. The fourth week, we did Magic Up Your Mission, and the mission is then, while this is all occurring and you're off on your adventure with the people around you that you love and connect with and the money to support it all, you're on a mission to spread the joy. It looks like you're on a mission to achieve various targets and goals, to buy this and build that and do all the stuff you're meant to do on the local level, but it's not really. The mission is spreading this joy, this beauty that is uniquely you to as many people as you possibly can while you're on the planet, and leave behind the biggest, most beautiful waft of joy that you could possibly do when you depart, because that's what feeds everybody. And then last week we did Magic Up Your Chi, basically magic your vitality, your energy, your stamina, your strength, because we all need that. I purposely didn't say the word health, because even as someone trained as a doctor in Chinese medicine, he's devoted 17 full-time years, nearly full-time years, to treating hundreds of thousands of people, and therefore keenly aware of the need for reducing pain levels and so on. The one thing I did conclude, if I concluded anything, is there is no such thing as a state of perfect health. We all have a balance, a moving balance going on between disease and health. What's important is, no matter what's going on in there, the vitality, the drive, the chi, the energy, the stamina, the strength is high. Because when that's high, it can carry you through whatever you're going through. That's the sort of the juice of the superhero, if you like. And then finally, we arrive at this one today, which is the Magic Up Your Magic, Magic Your Magic. And the reason I put this at the end was because there's something very important about reaffirming the fact that you do have the power to influence reality when you back yourself into the Tao. It's kind of like the seal. This is like the sealing the process, and it's really important. And I imagine that the result of this will be quite profound over the coming days and weeks and months. As a series in general, whether you've been at them all or not, we've been doing it for you if you haven't been here, and if you have been at all of them, you'll get that vibe, the build-up, the cumulative effect of what I'm alluding to. The way that I want to introduce quite a profound trick that comes from Taoist magic. I went to Hong Kong when I was 19 to to study Taoist magic with a Chinese guy, a brilliant guy, and I'm into demystifying everything. I'm not into mumbo jumbo, whether it's Christian, Buddhist, Taoist, it doesn't matter what. I just find it dull and stupid for me. I'm not saying you don't have your mumbo jumbo if you want it, but the less mumbo jumbo, the better for me. So I stripped it down to this, and translate into Western terminology as well. That one of the big techniques in Taoist magic is developing what in the West we call the doppelganger. The Indian yogis are quite renowned for being in two places bilocating at the same time and appearing in like flesh and blood in two places at the same time. Well, I'm not suggesting any of us are going to develop powers like that, although it can happen. What I'm talking about is this, that and this is like all magic is based on this, we create thought forms. And once a thought form is created, it's real. Now, a thought form is a thought which has a form, obviously. So if you believe in angels, I'm not suggesting angels don't exist or that they do exist. That's my personal thing of whether they do or they don't. I experience them as existing, but I accept that as my personal experience and wouldn't presume to suggest that they do exist. I think it's daft to do that. But because that's just my experience of it, that they do. And most people do get a sense that they do. Doesn't mean that they do, it just means that we all get a sense that they do. What we can say for sure is that that is a thought form everybody agrees with, and then it has reality. As soon as it's agreed with, or even as you agree with yourself about it, it has its own reality. That's the magic of manifestation. That's how the whole universe works. The Tao creates bits of itself, just the same as we create ourselves. And then the bit that it's created forgets that it's been created, and it thinks it's its own autonomous entity, and then it spins on its own, or at least appears to in this world of illusions. So it's the same with once you give rise to the angel or the doppelganger, the familiar, the spirit helper, it exists. And we are concerned merely with benign magic here. So that's the whole focus is on healthy, life-affirming results as opposed to the opposite. That's for other people to do if they want to, which they wouldn't, but there you go. This is for us to develop more beauty in our lives and in the lives of everyone around us, to magic up the mission, magic up all of it. And so whether you see the doppelganger as a form with your appearance, or you see it as an angel, because that's what feels more comfortable to you, and even an angel with your face on it, or whether you see it as a spirit helper that doesn't have a face anything like yours or doesn't even look human at all, if that's what's comfortable for you, or if you see it as a familiar, like the wizard's familiar, like it could be a cat or a dog or whatever, a power animal, a totem. It really doesn't matter. It makes no difference at all, because these are just thought forms. What is important is the intention that you imbue the spirit helper with. I'll explain why I'm saying this now. Because what we've done is, as I've just gone through, we've addressed the different, we could address many more aspects of life, but those more or less are the sort of quite good headings to work under. And while once we've done this ritual today, it would behoove us all to get our doppelgangers, our clones, our angels, our spirit helpers, our familiars, whatever it is you want to do it as, to go out and make sure that those areas are covered. As you're sending the troops out to do your bidding, this is something that I do occasionally myself. It's quite powerful. It's not something that I would do on a daily basis. It's unnecessary to anyway. It's as if you have a gang or a committee of helpers. These are your doppelgangers. You breathe life into them. Once you have done, they go on their own steam. And you assign each helper to a different area of your life. There are limitless amounts of helpers you can have, but seeing as most of us, I would imagine, are fairly new to this delegating business, I'd say let's keep it to 5, one for each of those 5 previous areas we've covered. These 5 doppelgangers, these spirit helpers, clones, angels, familiars, whatever, we will send them out into the world to do what needs to be done. The first one we'll send out into the world of money. It's to just round up all the extra money that's coming back your way from all the money you ever spent in your life, every single penny that has been spent on you by your parents and that you've spent yourself and on others, which is zillions worth. I mean, it's a lot of money each person's spent on this planet since we've all been here. Each one is being blessed and is so a happy penny and goes out into the world of circulation of money and makes friends because it's a happy penny. And by the time it circulates back again, as everything does, it comes back with an army of pennies, so that your 1 penny has come back 10 million-fold. Then if you multiply that out by how many pennies have actually gone out in the first place, there's this huge, huge wash of fortune accruing for you. And then all you have to do is draw down a tranche of however much you need for the next phase of the journey. Well, just to corral all those pennies and make sure they're not getting lost and falling in the gutter on the way back, one of the spirit helpers, one of your clones, is going to go out there and do that. Then for the harmony and the beauty and the joyfulness of your love life and your personal life, your social life, the life of connecting in love with all other sentient beings, send another doppelganger out for that, just to sort of like smooth the wheels and do little healing miracles for anybody who's a bit in trouble, to send good wishes from you to everybody in the world, and in so doing, attract to you a wonderful wash of humanity who love you and just want to help you and nurture you and for you to do likewise with. Then the adventure, the next bit of the adventure. As I said, it's not really about geography, it's about people, as is all of this stuff. And the people who are going to present you the opportunities and who are going to put the obstructions up to make it more interesting, and the ones who are going to help you dismantle the obstructions to make it more beautiful. And everything that's going to happen in this next phase of the adventure, we're going to send a doppelganger out to go and sort all that out ahead of time as well. Your ambassador to go and send some beautiful, fragrant energy to everybody with whom you're going to be interacting, and thereby grease the wheels of the whole process and make the adventure as wonderful and beautiful as it can possibly be. A bit like sending out your security guys to go and check that everything's safe out there and do the very, very best to make it the smoothest ride possible. And then the mission of spreading the joy, a few doors have to be kind of opened and barriers overcome so for your joy to spread ubiquitously in a contagion. And one of your doppelgangers is going to go out and do that. It's going to make sure that all the doors are wide open for your joy to spread ubiquitously without limit. Now, you might find that one doppelganger for each of these areas is somehow a bit limited, or seems a bit... They're very powerful, these doppelgangers. They're all powerful. But you can visualize each doppelganger with a whole troop of helpers as well, because, you know, they have their kind of sub-angels, if you like, that will then go out and do all the little bits and pieces, the lesser stuff that needs doing. And then finally, the doppelganger who's going to take care of your energetic flow. And that comprises sort of things that you might not think of, like just ensuring that the kind of flow of air in your direction is as clean as possible, and that the water that you're drinking is as pure as can be, and that the food chain bit that comes to you is as pure and uncontaminated as possible, and that the air conditioning when you walk into a building is not poisoned, and that the kind of people that you're going to interact with are not too infected with diseases, and that they're going to be generally pleasant on your system, and so on and so forth. So you're going to have a doppelganger to ensure that the external environment is going to be as friendly to you as can possibly be, and also to check the insides for you regularly as well, and just, you know, get your organs talking to each other, and make sure the energy is flowing finely between all the organs and everything's working in optimal fashion as much as can possibly be. So that's going to be the basis. This is a powerful, powerful technique. As I say, I'm into demystifying. I would recommend the less mystification, the better. But whatever it requires for you to hook your mind onto the shape of the thought form, let it be. So if you need to dress your money doppelganger in green, say, and give it a certain look and a hairstyle, that's fine. Well, it's just devices for being able to see it. But seeing it isn't really it either. It's knowing it. It's just feeling it, going out there and doing it. And to get this magic working really powerfully, it's going to have to come from the depth of our beings. It ain't going to come from the personality that wants stuff. The wanting stuff gets in the way of having the stuff. You can't want and have at the same time. The magic works by having it all already, and then just picking bits of what you've already got to come into the foreground, to come up onto center stage to be experienced. Let us begin. I've had enough of that high-speed waffle. Let us begin and settle into a meditative state in the following way. You can close your eyes. If you want to keep them open to look at the beautiful images Sue has done, that's completely up to you. I would recommend, however, as wasteful as it may be to her great work, to lower your eyelids all the way and allow the shapes and colours on the screen to just wash the eyes in a subtle light show. Stop holding your breath and let the breathing go very slow and smooth and silken with fine quality breathing. As you breathe in, get the sense of drawing in a whole new raft of possibilities, of options, of opportunities, of life. And as you breathe out, get the sense of that sacrificing what's gone before to the universe. You're giving your sacrifice so that you are worthy to receive the next raft of gifts. So this is your gift to the universe. You breathe out, that's your sacrifice. And in doing, you're giving the wealth of all your experience, of everything that's gone before. You're surrendering it to the universe so that you are here with nothing behind you and nothing in front. You're just here. And as you breathe in, you're drawing in the potential gifts that are coming your way. But in this moment, you are perfectly delighted just to be. That was the point I was saying before. You're delighted just to be. And you're breathing in and you're breathing out. And as you do this, you start to become aware that your body is probably not as expanded as it could be. You're somewhat diminishing your space. And there's no need to diminish your space. To the contrary, let us optimize it now. Visualize a kindly being, it might be me for example, coming behind you and gently lifting the back of your head upwards towards the ceiling, you know, like Alexander teachers do, or Tai Chi teachers. And you're getting length in the back of the neck, and it's causing the whole spine to lengthen. You're feeling taller, subtly. It's as if there's a bright light on the crown of your head that's so bright it's drawing the crown of your head upwards. Your shoulders, visualize yourself as a big angel now, and you've got these massive wings that are very heavy, and they're causing your shoulder blades to which they're attached to drop and to broaden. You get this wonderful feeling of breadth across the shoulder girdle, which is fully dropped now. Just very subtly, urge the upper chest, the upper breastbone forwards and upwards a bit, very subtly, and it's like you're raising your thymus gland forwards and upwards, and that is giving you a noble bearing, stopping the chest caving in. Let your hips relax completely, and let the hips broaden. Let the sit bones slide apart from each other to provide you a firmer, broader base upon which to sit, not just your body, but your entire experience of the universe. It's a big universe, so you need a strong, solid, broad base to contain it all. Now that you've elongated and broadened your frame, you can afford to let all the muscles of the body soften all the way down. So there is no reason right now to hold tension in your face or your neck or your shoulders, your chest, your arms, your sides, your belly, your back, your buttocks, your genitals, your legs, your feet. There's no reason to hold tension anywhere. The organs don't have to be tense. You can relax your liver, relax your stomach, relax your spleen, relax your lungs, relax your heart, relax your kidneys, Relax your bowels, not too much, and let everything completely soften down. Your blood vessels don't have to be constricted. You can relax your blood vessels. You can relax your blood vessels just by commanding it so. Relax your nerves, the neural pathways. Relax your brain. Relax your sense organs. Relax your joints. Relax your bones. Relax your bone marrow even. So the entirety of your physical form, your vehicle, is completely and utterly softened. This doesn't weaken it, to the contrary, it actually strengthens it because your energy, your blood, your fluids can flow much more freely now. Allow the weight of the head and the chest, which you're used to holding up there in the sky now, to drop down where it wants to go, below the level of the navel, into the lower part of the body and the legs, so that you feel really heavy in the lower part, rooted, grounded, connected to the earth. And the upper part is light and airy and clear, connected to the sky. And the two of them, the power of the sky and the power of the earth, meet roughly just below your belly button. That becomes the center of this experience, the physical center of the experience. Now comes the big move, which is this, that you have habituated to occupying solely the front of your body, merely because it's more exciting up there, it's noisier up there, and we are instinctively drawn to noise and excitement. The noise of the brain in the front of the brain conversing with itself about what you're doing in your life, how you're doing it, and all the rest of it is in the front of the brain. The tension associated with the fear, anxiety, anguish, angst of dealing with all the information you've got to deal with every millisecond is happening in the solar plexus. The closing down to self-protect that arises as a result of this tension in the solar plexus occurs in the heart area, the chest area, that withholding of the beauty of you, and all then the pretense and bullshit that goes with that withholding occurs in the heart area. And all of that is very compelling because it's activity, nasty activity on the whole, but it's activity. As well as which, beyond that, in front of you, in the world, is the world of the world, with all the swirl of the lights and the colour and the sound and the clamour and the clatter of all the girls and boys out there in the playground of life. And we are drawn forwards to it all. Well, that's all well and good if you just want to dissipate your energy and eventually dissipate yourself and so on. But if you want power, which is what we're on about here, drop back now. Let go of all that. Drop all the way back inside so that you're sitting back against your own shoulder blades, against your spine, against your hip bones, against your sacral bone, even into your coccyx at the tip of the spine, and tilting the head back just a millimeter. You let your mind slide backwards so that it's resting up against the rear anterior wall of your skull. Now you're all the way back inside. You have reclaimed your back. You're now fully in command of what goes on in the front as well. So you've doubled your depth, at least. Instead of being all shoved up like a 2D character in the front, you've now gone fully 3D. You've sunk all the way back and you've reoccupied your self. You're in your back. The back of you is where your strength is, physically as well. It's where all the strength of the body, the big strong muscles, the spine, the strongest stuff in the body is in the back. The front very weak and vulnerable relatively. So now you're with your strength. You are where the power is. And you're in command of the front. So you can command your solar plexus to let go now a little bit more if you want. You can command your heart to relax and open a little bit more now if you want. You can command the otherwise noisy part of the front of the brain there to shut up right now if you want. And I would advise to want these things. Let the solar plexus settle a little bit. Let the heart soften a little bit. And certainly allow the front of the brain to remain really quiet. Give it a rest. Now you're sitting back in the cave of the skull. And the cave of the skull, the sacred cave of spirit is called, is high up in the mountains, in the sacred mountains. The mouth of the cave is where the forehead is, roughly, center of the forehead, what's normally called the third eye, which is really like a lens that you can see out of through the center of your forehead. That's the mouth of the cave, and you're gazing out from the back of the cave through that opening into space, forever and ever and ever and ever, into infinity. There is nothing to be concerned with in this world of details from here. You are purely concerned with gazing in serenity out into infinity, knowing that there is nothing to be done, nothing to be achieved, nothing needs to happen. Everything just is as perfect as it is. Meanwhile, down below in the world of movement, the breath is still moving and the blood and the fluids are all still moving around this fantastic structure called the body. And you are fully sitting back in it, as comfortable as can be, feeling utterly in command of everything. Now, in your back, you are privy to what's behind you. You are connected to the power of who you have been in your life up till now. So every achievement, every failure, every lesson learned, every tiny minuscule portion of experience gained is behind you. And by sinking back like this, you are connecting, reconnecting with it. You're availing yourself of all that strength and wisdom gleaned until now. As well as which you're availing yourself of all the love and support received in the past until now from all those around you. And you're connecting with that power. It's rather huge. Behind that even is the ancestors, your ancestors, all those responsible, stretching back at least 1.5 miles in history, for you being here right now. You're availing yourself of that genetic power as well now. So the power of the past supports you rather than depletes you. It's there behind you, pushing you forwards, bolstering you. And it's forming a guardian-like energy all around you to keep you safe and to protect all your endeavors. The front of you, meanwhile, is really open and beautiful, vulnerable. And it is available now to destiny, the angel of destiny. Destiny who comes at you with a beautiful face, smiling. And a negotiation occurs between the guardian energy of the past, which surrounds you, and the oncoming angel of destiny. Make it sweet, make it sweet. And the angel of destiny agrees, and they kiss. And there's this beautiful explosion of energy inside the soul, which is in the back of you, which immediately shoots down into your heels and back up into your throat and settles somewhere in the center of the chest area. Now, as you breathe in, become aware of a line of light. It can be any color you like, but I suggest a very vivid, bright color, moving from the tip of the spine to the crown of the head, up the rear of your spine. And it's moving at the speed of light, so it's kind of reached the crown of your head pretty much before it's even left the tip of the spine. It's a solid line of light as wide as a fiber optic strand. And as you breathe in, you're aware of it, and it gives you power. It empowers the system. As you breathe out, become aware of a similar line of light dropping down from the crown behind the face along the front of the spine to between the legs, there to hook into the upward going one again and form a loop. And as you breathe out each time, and you become aware again of a very, very bright light, a fine bright stream of light, I would recommend that the upward flowing light was a sort of a bright green, and the downward flowing light was a very bright aqua. You can change these for any colors you like, but right now that would be good. And the downward flowing light, it gives you grace, the grace of acceptance, the grace of acquiescence, the grace of surrender to the flow of destiny, to the power of Tao. So you're breathing in and you're becoming aware of power in a line of light up your back. You're breathing out and you're aware of a line of grace, a stream of light running down the front. You can visualize, if you like, as the line of light goes up the rear, that the whole spine is like an iron bar or a platinum bar, something very, very, very beautiful and powerful, really powerful, just will sustain you forever. And that as the line of light goes down the front of the body, there's an effusion, a radiance of grace all around you, as if you're setting off 1,000,000 angels in every direction in front of you and all around you to make it all beautiful. When the breathing goes out when you're exhaling now, and that line of light going down the front is happening, and that grace is occurring. With that grace, release everybody in your orbit at the moment who doesn't need to be there anymore, whether it's from their reason that they don't need to be there or from your reason you don't need them there anymore. Anyone who's cluttering up the works. Now, it's not meaning that you're punishing them or banishing them. You're just setting them free to go and do whatever they've got to do somewhere else. So every single person in your life, you don't have to visualize who they are or decide who they are, but everyone who needs to be freed by you, and everyone that you need to free from you, who are getting in the way in any way at all, obstructing the flow, making it sticky, jamming it up, let them go with grace. You say, bless you, bless you, bless you, go with grace, go in peace, toodle pip, and let them go. So you breathe out each time, and as you're doing that, you're cleansing yourself of any sticky energy. And it's not just the people, it's the things, habits, thought forms, entities, anything in your life, any phenomenon or factor in your life that is jamming up the works, breathe out and let it go. And every time you breathe in and the energy zooms up the back of you, you're drawing to yourself, you're magnetizing to yourself all the people that you need, some of whom will no doubt already be in your orbit, to succeed on the next stage of your mission of spreading the contagion of your joy. So these will be people to support you personally, socially, professionally, financially, and so on and so on and so on. So all the people that you need, and you don't know who they are, you don't need to know who they are, there's no need to try and fix on faces or identities, just draw the essence each time you breathe in from all around you of the people that you need in your orbit to succeed on the next phase of your mission of spreading the joy. Bearing in mind that in your mission of spreading the joy, you will be given all the resources in all areas of life to support and facilitate you doing that. Now you are standing in good relations to the past, to the ancestors. You've honored that. You're standing in good relation to destiny. You've honored that. You're standing in good relation to the Tao. You've honored that in the presence of everyone here. You are in the core of your being, and you're ready, we're all ready now to instigate this movement of the doppelgangers, the spirit helpers. This is quite powerful. So become aware of all of us here. So we're like brothers and sisters holding hands to give each other strength, because we're about to do something powerful. We're totally capable of all of this, so there's nothing to worry about. Get a feeling as you visualize yourself holding hands with 200 people around the planet right now. The breastbone is sliding open like a pair of sliding doors and revealing in you and in everybody in the circle this gorgeous, beautiful flower of love, beyond the most beautiful rose you've ever seen, just indescribable beauty. And it symbolizes the indescribable, ineffable gorgeousness that is you, in your soul, the reason that you came here. This is the gift, the unique quality of joy that you have to offer the world, and thereby be rewarded in every way that works for you. So this is the really important bit. This beautiful flower of love is now open and available to sight. It's visible to everybody in this circle and to everybody beyond our circle. And as you breathe in and breathe out, you're drawing in the love of everyone around you in the circle and beyond. Every time every time you breathe in, you're doing that, and every time you breathe out, you're sending your love mixed with all of theirs back out there again, multiplied. Now, as you do this, this flow of love is really strong and beautiful. Just introduce a bit of money into the flow. Notice that there will be oh, money's dirty, you can't mix money with love. Money is love. Love, money, money, love. It's the same thing, just different form. Breathing in a fantastic flow of high denominational notes in a stable currency of your choice, or a mix of currencies, into your heart area, and then breathing them out again. And they're breathing in and breathing out on an envelope of love. This beautiful sensation of money coming in and money going out freely, not attached to the energy of it at all, just letting it come in and go out. And it's in this milieu of love. And now get the sense of drawing in the souls of everybody that you really need to be with, love to be with, the people that you love. As you draw in the breath, you're kind of drawing them into you, like mixing them with your love and then sending your love back out to them. You're drawing people in and sending people out on beautiful journeys. It's the sense of, very hard to put into words, but you're just drawing the love in and then sending the love out. And then as you breathe in, you're drawing in the very essence of an incredible adventure into your heart, the excitement of it all. And as you breathe out, you're sharing that excitement with everybody. You're infusing the love with that excitement. And then as you breathe in, you're drawing in the power and strength of your mission, the integrity of your mission to spread the joy. And as you breathe out, you're sending that power out to everybody to strengthen everybody's mission of spreading the joy. And as you breathe in, you're drawing in all the energy and vitality and power and strength of the universe into your heart. It's filled with love. It's surrounded in love. And as you breathe out, you're sending yours back out to everybody else. This fantastic energy, vitality, power for everybody. You're revitalizing the entire cosmos. So now you stand in good relation to money and to people, to love, to the adventure, the excitement of being here, the mission, spreading the joy, the strength and the energy. You stand in good relation to all these phenomena, and you're in good company. Here we all are together. I'd like you to visualize sitting in front of you a being to your left, and the being has his or her face turned away from you, but their body shape was rather familiar. And then I went next to them, another being, again not looking at you, so you can't see their face. It looked strangely familiar. And then another one next to them to their right, and then another to their right, and another to their right. So in front of you, you have 5 beings with their faces facing away in a semicircle. They're your helpers. Just ask them all to turn around, and wow, lo and behold, they have your face on. These are your doppelgangers. These are your spirit helpers. You might want to negotiate with them now if they feel more comfortable being angels. It's all a fancy dress party anyway, this universe. So just ask them if they want fancy dress, they can have it. They want to be angels, they can be angels. If they want to be familiars, dogs, cats, whatever, they can be that. If they want to be spirit guides of souls, spirit helpers of some other more exotic appearance, they can be that. Negotiate with them and just settle on whatever it is. You can change it as you go along as well. The sense of just there being at this point in time 5 people, or beings rather, 5 doppelgangers, 5 clones of you in your deepest power. And notice that all the way around the circle, everybody's got their 5. And be aware, even though you can't really see them because they go invisible after this level, that each of your 5 has got a whole crew of helpers around them. And I want you to give the command to just firstly establish the fact that you are in command here. You're well in your back. You're one with the presence of the universe here. You're going to establish that it is you in command of the 5. You're the boss. You're the boss. And they like that. They're happy with that. They don't want any namby-pamby leadership. They want it strong and clear. You're the boss. Establish that. Ordain, for the first one on the left, to go out into the world of money and all associated business and ensure that the flow of money coming back to you is a huge, voluminous and amplitudinous and amazing and jolly and happy, so that the money coming your way is money that brings joy and happiness for you and everyone that you spend it on. Send them off, and good luck with counting on you. Then the second one, ordain, command, the second one, to go out into the world of relationships, of the joyfulness of people, the love people, the people that you're close to, and to go out and do all the healing that is required with all the people in your life that you've ever loved, who've ever loved you, and make it good with everybody. Make it beautiful with everybody. It doesn't mean you're drawing them all into your life, into your orbit this time, but the ones who need to come with great ease, because you're sending this doppelganger out there to do the job with his or her helpers. Then the third one who sits in front of you, just draw them to you, say, okay, you, I command to go out and sort the adventure out now. Go out there and make it amazing. It's a bit like a producer and a researcher for a TV show. You're sending them out there to make the story happen, make the way beautiful, smooth the way, clear the obstructions, make the adventure the most incredible adventure it can possibly be. Let them surpass themselves. Send them out there, give them the command and see them go. Then the fourth one that was sitting just to the right of center, give them the command to go out there and smooth the mission, to take all the barriers down and open all the doors that have to be opened for your adventure to flourish, for your mission to occur fully without inhibition, to take it on to a quantum leap, to give you the voice you need to have in the situations you need to have it in, to affect the changes that require affecting. And then finally the fifth one, you command them to go out there and smooth the way environmentally for you, to make sure that you're safe and sound and that your health and your strength and your power is at optimal levels in terms of your relationship with all exogenous factors, and also to leave a few sub-helpers behind inside the body to make sure that the healing situation goes on, and they've gone. You've sent out your helpers. Now this is only the first time round probably for each of us to have done this. You can refine this process, but you can include more helpers in the committee. There are no limits to this one. I went with the 5 because it's the Taoist way, 5 things, 5 elements, 5 organs and so on. And you can adapt this any which way you want to. But what's happened here is that you have sent out your helpers into the realm of the ether. And like angels, you can even see that they are angels, it doesn't matter, they are now doing their work. They are doing the magic on your behalf. You, meanwhile, are sitting all the way back inside. And you are now really one with the presence that's informing all of us here. And we are, as they say, one in the presence as we sit in this circle. We're feeling clear and clean because we've done the magic. And now it's time to devote just a little bit of thought to all our brothers and sisters on the planet right here at this moment in time. And make a wish that our doppelgangers, our helpers that have gone out there to do the work, are going to just make it, the effect of that is going to make it easier for everyone on the planet. So it's a wish now for all suffering and pain to be dispelled for everybody, and that all the people with the most difficult, painful decisions to make the right decision painlessly, and that all the people facing their horrible tests and trials do so with courage and equanimity, and that all the people that are arguing or fighting with each other come to a state of mutual peace, and that all the people that are oppressing other people in any way imaginable suddenly realize what they're doing and they stop doing that. And all the people that are being oppressed or bullied in any way at all are suddenly released from that. And that all the children that are being mistreated, that stops. And that all the mistreatment of everybody, the impulse to do that, is suddenly softened. That there's a new level of intelligence that spreads like a wildfire through the collective mind, that just makes every single person on the planet right now know that it's not necessary to hurt people. It's not necessary to willfully try and dominate. That the Tao will produce far more magic if we let go, let go, let go. And you could visualize all 7+ billion people on the planet right now just letting go, their hands sort of floating up towards their shoulders, ungripping, just surrendering. All 7 billion people on the planet surrendered in this moment to the power of the Tao, the benign power of the Tao. And all 7 billion people on the planet taking a deep breath in and going, oh, thank you. Just imagine that right now, the whole world breathing a sigh of relief. And may the effects of that, however subtle, produce some true miracles out in the world of the world this week. And may we be protected from all further violence, and may all violence be reduced eventually to no violence at all. And in your own time, this is the time to come slowly back, while remaining back inside, to the so-called normal waking state, where you incorporate again your constructed self with honour, respect and compassion. Still aware of everyone here, and we'll do some Q&A, so Sue can explain what to do that.
Hello. Okay, so if you would like to ask a question, you can do so by either raising your hand by clicking the blue circle with the yellow hand and the green arrow, or you can type your question into the question box and I will read it out for you. So we have some questions pre-submitted, so I'm going to start with one of those.
Yeah.
And this is from Sabine in Germany. Is there a way to speed the magic up? Things are changing, I can feel it, but it's slow and I am the impatient type.
Hi Sabine. That's a lovely question. I have experienced in I actually asked this of William, my teacher of magic, and I've tried what he told me to do 2 or 3 times in my life, and it has worked each time. So much so that I haven't done it for a long time, because it does actually accelerate things in quite a bizarre way. And I'm personally learning to relax into the speed that's occurring already, which is like, what is it, 186,000 miles a second? I don't know what that is in kilometers, excuse me, at the speed of light. To me, that's kind of fast enough for everything. And if that is too vague, I like to sort of sit back onto the ground. You know, I'm on the planet now, and it's moving at 100 and so thousand kilometers an hour. And that's pretty fast for me. So then when I tune into that, I don't really feel like I need to rush the oncoming effects of the magic so much. However, if you do want to, and you don't mind experimenting and it going all a bit wonky, because this was my experience, every time I've done this, it has actually caused quite a sort of chaotic, it's like you're suddenly revving up a speedboat in a very choppy sea. It splashes everything about quite a bit. If you're up for that, you just, from the state of wholeness that we've just been in, you know, you bring yourself back inside, protect yourself by making that loop around the spine of that light, and then you just say, with all your heart, soul and might, accelerate the process, accelerate the process, accelerate the process, and the process will be accelerated. I just did that for you, actually. I think you'll find it will speed up. That would be for everybody who wanted it there. It will speed it up. There was a lot of intention when I did that.
Donna's saying she needs to leave, but she wants to say a million thank yous for being you, BD, and blessings returned 100-fold. Big, big, big hug.
Bless you, Donna. I was being me anyway, but it's an utter pleasure. Thank you for being you.
And Malkit said, this indeed was the most powerful satsang of all, dear Stephen. Thank you. Facilitated this wonderfully and beautifully.
Oh, that's lovely of you to say, and reassuring me so. Thank you.
So now a question from Elizabeth in Austria. I'm afraid of changing the world by my magic. It sounds too big for small me. Any ideas on false humility?
Of false humility? Well, Elizabeth, it's a good question. But, I mean, why assume initially that what you're going to do is going to have some major dramatic effect? Why not assume that with a subtle wish for something to occur, it will sort of occur subtly? You know, you're a very refined person. I know you, and your energy is really refined. So if you make an intention for something to occur, it will occur in a really refined way. And I think to take responsibility for that and own that you are a refined person with refined energy, refined sensibilities, why not play around with it? And the false humility is merely just a mistaken identity with the constructed self, rather than identifying fully with the self that constructs, you know, the background presence. From the point of view of the background presence, there is no such thing as humility or pride. It makes no, those just don't come into it. Things just are. It just is, and its job, its role, its function is to generate reality. So backed into that, with an intention to make a shift in the world, it can only have a benign effect. It will be in the same tone and quality as your refined energy. Hope that somehow answers that.
This next one is from Samantha. How can you help someone who tries to take their own life? I feel I have done all I can to no avail.
Well, it's really difficult. My best friend Frank, met him when I was about, I don't know, 30. Yeah, 30. And when I was 42, he killed himself. When I met him, he was the most wonderful, intelligent, enlightened, wise, brilliant, funny, successful, kind, beautiful, amazing, entertaining man I had or have ever come across, which is saying something because I've met a lot of amazing people. This man was beyond. And when I met him, he was into Taoism as well, one of the few people I knew at the time who were. And we were discussing Taoism, and one of its famous effects is promoting longevity, you know, the Tai Chi practice, the meditation practice. This backward flowing practice that we've been doing here is all about living as long as possible so that you can achieve as much enlightenment and what have you as possible. So we were talking about that. He goes, oh, so you're one of the longevity brigade. I said, well, yeah, why? What are you? Oh, no, so I'm one of the short and sweet brigade. I said, why? What do you mean? He said, I'm going to take my life one day. I said, really? Why? He goes, I'm bored. I said, oh, come on, boredom's just a cover-over, you know, because I'm training therapy and all that. Boredom's just a cover-over for anger or whatever. He said, yeah, and all that. But he said, I'm bored. I know all the game. I know the game inside out. I'm bored. I just don't want to be here anymore. I am bored. And I said, okay, we came up with this agreement that if I could find things to keep him amused and entertained, he wouldn't kill himself. And I did. We did. We had an amazing time. Things we did because he had a lot of money. So like I get into fun projects, and I had a band, and he was the manager. And we bought a house, and we had a rehearsal studio. We made an album and did all kinds of mad shit. And then eventually, I actually ran out of ideas. I just truly ran out of ideas. Now, I don't accept responsibility for him dying. He was going to do it anyway. I accept responsibility for keeping him entertained enough to stay on the planet as long as he did, maybe. Eventually, one day, he just did. He drank vodka, he took some ketamine, he took some mazepam or two, and taped a bag over his head and was gone. And it wasn't a surprise at all. It was a great, horrible sadness, grief for me, but and this was a long time ago, it was about 16 years ago. I still feel that grief. But it was his time to go, whether he'd have gone by that method or, you know, brick dropping off a building on his head. He would have gone at that moment. I'm pretty sure of it. And I think all we can do is give love to them as much as possible, hold the space for them to stay alive, let them know that they're wanted here, that you want them here, and that's all you can do. That's all you can do. Because everybody has their own destiny. And we assume that suicide is wrong. How do we know? We don't know. You know, we don't know. You know, that's just people dying when they're meant to die, if that's how your friend's going to die. I'm sorry I can't give you much more help than that. That's it, really.
This is David's question. Sometimes my instincts tell me to do something, but the flow of events is taking me in another direction. Rather than battling against it, I tend to go with the flow of events, but generally find that my instincts were right in the first place. What would you advise in these situations?
Oh, David, such a great question. I wish I knew. I really wish I knew, because I've been there so many times myself as well. It's a really, really strange one. But then I wonder, well, I do firmly believe that whatever happens was exactly what destiny decreed was going to happen. It was never or could never have been any different in a way. The flow of everything was always going to lead to that point. And that your intention, whatever the big intention was, will be made manifest. It wasn't actually meant to be made manifest like that. And the instincts are kind of like the animal knowing, hey, this isn't really right, but somehow or other, knows it's going to be all right enough to go with it. If the instinct, the animal instincts, were so strong that you shouldn't go there, you wouldn't go there. You wouldn't go there. So it's like, you know, you vote for a government, and you know that most of their policies are shit, but you know that the ones that are important are just about right enough for you. You kind of go with it because that's the choice you've got. And it somehow or other works out. It would have worked out much better if it had been done in a different way, maybe, but it works out. And yeah, I don't really know. The truth is, I haven't got a clue. I've gone against my own instincts so many times, and then thought, why did I do that? But then it kind of works out. It seems to eventually come round, and then you look back and you go, no, that's cool. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. The whole thing's just a dream. You know, from the point of view of the background presence, the unfolding of these details, these events of our lives, it's just that. It's not that important. Well, we give it so much importance. It isn't important. The only thing that's important, really, in respect of the world around us, is that we share as much love as we possibly can at every single moment. The rest of it is just really just details. And you know, and in that sharing, we do everything we can to make things better for each other rather than worse.
How many more questions would you like to do?
3.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll start with this one from Marina. Hi Doc, thanks for your magic. Any tips on how you can support magic in others? I have a client with adrenal problems.
What did you say her name was, Sue?
Marina.
Oh, hey, Marina. You have a client and you want to support their magic. In other words, you want to give them strength, yeah? And they have an adrenal problem. I don't know what you do. I'm assuming it's obviously helping people, but I don't know if it's a physical thing. It would be if you can touch, if it's in your protocol to do so. Very good to put your, well, you probably know this anyway, put your palm across the lower back where the adrenals are and let the warmth penetrate with a message coming through your palm to the adrenals to relax. And you can do that distally as well. It doesn't have to be done, or remotely. It doesn't have to be done by touching. It can be done just by thinking it. And visualizing them relaxing their adrenal glands and having that sense of confidence and security in themselves. Suggesting all to them that they come back inside and that they breathe and relax the front of their bodies, getting them to tell you their story, what they want to manifest, trying to clarify it for them, and see it with them, and support them with that somehow, surround their picture with your love, and just let them know that you're there supporting them in. But then also, I think reassuring them, this is really important, that they don't have to manifest anything in their lives to be loved. They don't have to manifest anything to validate their presence here. They just have to be themselves. That's enough. And the more we know that in ourselves, the more we know that we don't have to do anything to be loved. We don't have to do anything to be valid here. The more valid we become somehow, the more the magic works. The more we relax into the Tao, who we really are, in other words, the less we try to be something, the more something we become, ironically. Hope that helps.
Penny's asking, can you explain when you feel the energy in your navel from above and below?
When you feel the energy from above and below, can you explain? I don't really understand what you mean totally, but that you have inspired me to suggest something. That if you were to, Pamela, imagine, and everybody, that there is a little Pamela or a little everybody sitting down in the belly like a Buddha behind the belly button, almost so that they can look out through the belly button at the world, the belly button window, as Jimi Hendrix put it. And they're breathing. And as they breathe in, they're drawing a shaft of light down from the heavens into themselves through the crown of the head of your big body, down through the crown of your head, along the front of your spine, in through the crown of their little Buddha head, and filling themselves with light and going, ah, like this. And then as they breathe, out, they're sending that light down into the center of the earth as a gift to the earth. And the earth is going, thank you. Then as they breathe in, they're drawing the heat of the center of the earth all the way up through the ground and into their belly, filling themselves with this fantastic earth heat and going, And then as they breathe out, they're offering that heat back up through the crown of their head to the heavens, and the heavens smile and go, thank you, as it warms them up. And then they're breathing in and drawing the light of the heavens down into the belly button area. And then they're breathing out and sending that light into the center of the earth, and they're breathing in from the center of the earth up and breathing out and out to the sky. That's one of the Taoist methods, techniques of what they call it, connecting the energies of heaven and earth. That's our actual function as beings here. This is the last question.
This is the last question, and it is from Sharon. It's quite a long one. Today has been a beautiful day. As I stopped to admire the fabulous view and extend thanks, I slipped on a rock and my back hips are now in excruciating pain. As I passed people on my way home, I wished them well and kept claiming my healing. Throughout this call, my neighbours have blasted their domestic arguments through the walls again, and the boy racer, same next door, given a further showdown. How do I propel myself out and above all of this and attract a house buyer? With love, thanks, Sharon.
And attract a house buyer. I like the twist at the end there. Well, first of all, the hip and the back. I'm sorry to hear that you hurt yourself, and I'm sure you know what to do to attenuate that. Take arnica for the bruising, put your hand on wherever the worst places are, and let the heat from your palm, the love from your palm penetrate, and spend time doing that. That's important, even if it feels like nothing's happening, because that will kind of cause that part of the body to knit together quicker. Go see somebody if you have to, craniosacral therapist or a good healer, somebody who can help soothe the pain away and get your body back in balance as quickly as possible. But also accept that your big self made that happen because you need to sit in for whatever reason. You need to stop and slow down a little bit, probably against what feels like against your will, and that there's going to be value in that. So don't fight it. Love that as an expression of love from your universe to you, even if it seems like a really twisted one. You've got to love it. You've got to love it rather than resist it. Love it and welcome it, as creepy as it may be. Love it, because then it will give its gift to you. So don't fight what it's doing to you. Don't think it was a mistake. That was destined to happen at that point. There's a good reason for it. So trust that. As for the domestic arguments and the boy racer noises that would appear to be blocking the sale of your house, you can be sure that if your house is for sale, there is somebody on the planet right now who is looking for that house, because what I seek seeks me. So there is somebody out there who is looking for that house. That's destiny. All you have to do now is, because of the power of the magic we've done, just open it up in your heart and just say, okay, whoever you are that is being drawn to this house, come now, come. And it has nothing to do with the boy racer and the neighbours. Has nothing to do with not being able to move your back or whatever. You can be sure that when they come, if they like the place because it's for them, they won't even notice the neighbours. They won't even see that. The neighbours won't be there at the time, whatever it is. And they might be the people that are going to come along and make the neighbours stop arguing and make the boy racer slow down. You just don't know. So you will be able to sell the house. Don't lose faith. Somebody is out there who's wanting to come and buy it right now. And you might find they even come and buy it this week. Who knows? In other words, rather than focus on the horribleness of everything, focus on the potential beauty of everything. That is our role. We must do that. However difficult it is, and I know it is really difficult sometimes, what we have to do is keep focusing on the beauty that we want to see manifest. And this applies to us in our own lives, and it applies to the world in general. As I say, it's really hard sometimes, but that's what we've got to do. Even in the face of all adversity, and even every time that you think you're being positive, you get kicked in the teeth, still got to keep coming back with dignity and grace and back into the positive. Don't let the fuckers grind you down, in other words. That is the point. You don't let the negativity beat you. Just keep coming back to strong and positive and gracious and receive everything that happens as an expression of absolute love. Well, look, thank you, everybody. It has been the most amazing series. I would normally leave a space for it all to settle in, but I'm agreeing with the people who say we should keep going, who want to keep going, that this is really powerful. And I mean, apart from anything, I totally love doing these. I love this. It's such an amazing thing. And I think it's not about the results anyway. It's really about us coming together and the joy that I feel coming together with you all in such a lovely, easy, civilized way as we do with this technology, without even having to get up out of the chair and even shake hands with anybody. It's such a wonderfully sophisticated medium in which to meet. And I love it that we can meet like this. It's so amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You're totally and utterly welcome to come. The next series is called the Right Up series, the Magic Satsang Right Up series, just because it's things like magic your money right up, magic your love right up. I can't actually remember the topics that are put in there, but they're fun and it's pertinent, and I'm excited about it. So I wish you all the most amazing week ahead, wonderful surprises, the strength and resilience to handle whatever life throws at you, the capacity to accommodate all the joy that there is, and for everything to move along with a quantum leap now in your life. And as far as I can tell, that is it, and that is all. Bless you, and toodle pip. I mean, that means goodbye.
Let all pain and suffering be dispelled. Let all pain and suffering be dispelled.